Good afternoon, all. How are you all doing? Afternoon, Danny. Comfortably crumbs. Afternoon, Road. How are we doing? FTNet. Meh. Meh. Afternoon. Morning. Morning, Vitali. How are we doing? Happy Friday. Friday. Afternoon, Steve. That Liverpool badge. Markets open. So just a quick recap of this morning. Not a lot's happened this morning. Trump is on a mission at the moment. So we are getting some Trump news coming through. Today's news is nothing. We haven't got any. So today is going to be nothing scheduled, basically, that's going to move the market today. As you can see, we've had CPI for Japan, which was pretty much on forecast. The pound retail was slightly down, but that's it. So we've had core durable goods and stuff. It just doesn't do anything in the news today. So that's it for news this week, basically. Trump's just been talking about lots of stuff, but this morning we've had nothing much else news-wise. But sorry, that's my doorbell. But Trump basically has been talking about 50-50 chance of doing the deal with the EU. So we've had a little bit of volatility sneaking in to the dollar. The S&P's had a little bit of a wobble on that, but nothing particularly exciting, really. China deal is nearly done. So it looks like hopefully we're coming to the end of the trade wars. So we might start to get some more normalized price action coming through, but we will see. This morning's DAX and FTSE was awful. That was far too big to get on. It was over 40% of the average daily range. In fact, it was way more than 40% of the average daily range. So obviously the market didn't have any volume to move because it did it all there. DAX basically broke short, stopped out, had another go, broke long, stopped out, literally nowhere. That's your 5-minute ORB today. That's where we're trading. Absolutely useless. So no movement in the markets at all today. So hopefully we'll get something a little bit more interesting on the US indices. Afternoon, Paul. Happy Friday. And Mumo. So big move on the Dow. We've got a big opening range going in on the Dow there. Whipsaw back in the middle. So big wick rejection to the downside. Going on. Why is the S&P frozen? Look at that. Literally nothing happening on the S&P. So yeah, nothing much directional at the open. So good chance we might get a decent breakout today because the market has just done nothing. So fingers crossed we're going to move. Afternoon, Brian. So I'm also testing someone else's strategy again. So I just need to keep an eye on that, which is in this window, which is why I'm looking over here. Just to let you know. FX-wise, as you can see, we've got a few ADRs today. The Swiss yen pushed up again. So big, strong move to the upside there. If you look at all the yen pairs, a little bit of bullish movement against the yen today, but not substantial. So a little bit of weakness on the yen. So Swiss yen has hit. Euro odd has also hit. Where has Euro odd there? So that's an ADR hit to the upside. That one, though, there's a massive broker candle on the Australian dollar, so that's not really an ADR hit. Afternoon, David. Thank you very much for the $10 tip. Very much appreciated. Have no fear, Lee the Great is here. I like that. Afternoon, Fletch. Yes. Have no fear, I am here. I shall tell you where the markets are going, and I shall be your guide. They're going up or down today. I can guarantee that. Euro odd is hit. Obviously, Euro pound also hit to the upside. So you've got a nice rejection going there. This is the area we looked at this morning in the live room. So this is your old yearly high, which we are tapping into now. 125 ADR today is your yearly high. So there's a good chance we might get a bounce off of that. The market will be watching that level. It could get in short now. It's nicely extended on the hourly. Good divergence as well. So we got obviously no movement on the RSI, but we have got strong upward momentum, which is bearish divergence. So target this propulsion gap 125 ADR to the downside. Sorry, let me just quickly look at the indices. No trades. Ranges are too small across the board. Oh, no, sorry, I am long the Dow. But no trade on the NASDAQ or the S&P. Ranges are too small. So Dow Jones long. See where we'll go on the Dow in a minute. Yeah, so obviously there's a good opportunity for a short there. This is quite a strong move on the euro, as you can see. Nice market structure, move to the upside. So you should at least get a pullback. If you look at every single rally that we've had that's basically gone so far, we get this big push, 50% retracement, push, retracement, push. So you're looking for this propulsion gap, 125 ADR to the downside. So that's euro pound, that's your ADR. You've had the reversal alert on the 5 minute on that, literally just kicked in straight off of ADR alert, reversal alert. Now it's retesting, so good area to get in, nice tight stop. Sure. Pound US dollar also has hit to the downside. Extension that. That huge sell-off on the pound against the dollar there. 4-hour RSI extension, getting ready for a long. Just had a reversal alert. I'm going to take that. I shall have a bit of that. Pound US dollar long. So that's nice extended on the RSI to the downside. Back up on that next position is going to be here. So basically, if we come and take this double bottom out, take another entry, and then we'll push back up into propulsion. That is if we're not going to continue this reversal back up. So just watching the NASDAQ at the moment. We just broke into the downside on the NAS. S&P has just rejected the upside. So's the Dow. Markets looking like they want to drop, but not really giving too much indication at the minute. 50 seconds. I just want to take a trade on another account. Pound US dollar, so gone along on that. US dollar CAD as well is the other ADR today. It's an ADR hit to the upside. Strong dollar. So again, that's rejecting up at the highs there at the open. We'll see if that one drops, but that is a nice extension on the hourly as well. You're just coming up into propulsion. That accumulation break there. We did pull back into this previous propulsion gap. Tempted to get out of it. Sellers hit it again, broke that low, off we went. So potentially high, low, lower high, lower low. But that would require the US dollar to be weak. And if Trump's getting all these deals over the line, there's a possibility we might have a strong dollar coming through. So those are your RSIs, which I'll come back to in a sec. Okay, so there's the 10-minute range on the NASDAQ. Still no trade on the Dow. Range is too small on the S&P. Sorry. Right. So. So it's going to take a trade on that as well. We're bang in the middle on the 10-minute. So yeah, euro pound obviously is extended. We've already looked at that one on the 4 hourly. There's your extension there. Nice divergence. So we're making higher highs, but on low strength. So again, very good opportunity. Got some, again, nice bearish divergence there. So looking for a good pullback on that one. You've got a pound US dollar, which again, we've just looked at. So I've just taken that one long and very nicely extended to the downside. Obviously, second entry will be down there. If it hasn't pulled back on that leg, we'll get that big pullback starting to happen. And you've also got that extended on the hourly. Yeah, so there's your 4 hour there, 4 hour extension. Look at the speed of that. And then your hourly extensions, obviously, we're below the 20 level on the hourly. So very, very good opportunity. The 80-20 level on RSI, incredibly reliable. We don't get there very often. In fact, you can see on this chart, last time we were there was here. We haven't been above the 80 level apart from that one. We haven't been below the 20 level, but the last touch we had on the 20 was there. We had a touch on the 20 there. That's pretty much it. So yeah, looking for that nice big strong pullback from those lows. The other extension you got is US dollar CAD. Again, we've looked at. So it's all the ADRs basically today are extended on the hourly and the 4 hourlies. As you would expect, it's all the same thing. Strong push on average daily range. It means you've got relative strength. So they're all very, very similar moves. Right. Dow Jones back inside the range. It's going to be one of those sessions today. Bad day yesterday. Made a loss yesterday. This morning, obviously, 2 stop outs. So I think that's 5 stop outs in a row. So we are due a break that actually works. Fingers crossed. Drump talking at market open is getting old fast. Yeah. Drump. Is that a thing? Drump. I like that. It's a good nickname, Drump. Yeah. Also, he said about Powell. He said, I mean, this is just, you can just see how ridiculous everything he sort of says is. Yeah. If you remember back to, was it last week or the week before? He was calling Powell too slow Powell, too late Powell. Powell is bad for America. Powell is terrible. Powell's done this. Powell's done that. He's just come out today and said, Powell is a very good man. Yeah. Wasn't last week, was he? Powell was the worst thing on the planet last week, but now he's a very good man. Why is he a very good man? Because we're going to drop interest rates. So basically, I think Powell will lower interest rates. He's had a chat with Powell, hasn't he? Powell told me the economy is doing very well. That's not what he said in the last statement. But anyway, you will believe what you say. So, yeah, last week, Powell was about to get fired. This week, Powell is a very good man. So basically what he's done is he's bent over and said to Trump, we could probably do the interest rate drops at some point soon, September, if we're lucky and inflation doesn't go up, which it looks like it will. Yeah, it's just basically backtracked again on what he said previously. If you look at the PMIs for the US from yesterday, manufacturing actually came down, which is good. But the services PMIs went up by 0.2. So Purchasing Managers Index feeds into Consumer Price Index, which feeds into interest rates. Yeah. Unless they're all doing that, we can't drop interest rates. So this is a very good indication that Powell has just fed him some lip service and he's not going to drop the rates. But we will see. Right. NASDAQ looks like it's... Oh, that's gold. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong chart. I'm looking at another screen here with lots of different charts on. We're not going anywhere fast, are we, today? Looks like we're going long. I'm going long. I've decided on a direction. I flipped a coin in my head and said heads. So I'm going long. Much chance of going short and either going long. Why is trading so difficult? I'm losing my marbles. Don't play with marbles. Play with money. Why is it so difficult? It's a very simple answer to that. You are trying to overcomplicate something that is very simple by looking at lots of different strategies, looking at lots of different markets, following loads of people who say they know what they're talking about. And basically, it's a 50-50 shot. Get yourself a coin, flip it. If it's heads, go long. If it's tails, go short. Wrap risk around it. It's that simple. There is nothing else to it. This will either go up or down today. I've decided to go up. It will go up or it will go down. That's it. That's why it's difficult. If you look at any report, analysis, whatever you want to call it, on gambling, yeah, about casinos, you will see why gamblers never make money long term. Yeah. This is very much the same as that. It's a red or black decision. The difference you've got with trading is you can increase and reduce your risk as we go along in the game. But that's a part that nobody ever does, basically. What everybody tries to do is find a system or strategy, press a button, put a static risk reward on it, and expect that to work out long term on a 50-50 shot. So that's why it's difficult. We had a big conversation yesterday about control. Or was it this morning? Can't remember. One of the days this week. You have no control over the market. That's why it's so hard to make money, because it will go where it wants to go, stopping out on the Dow. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you take trades from logical areas, yeah, so this euro pound that we're looking at the moment, yeah, if you take trades at logical areas, you are going to increase your odds exponentially of this trade working. Not because the 50-50 shot has changed in any way, shape or form. When you get to this point here and you press the short button, you still have a 50-50 shot. There is nothing else you can do. We've just broken long on the NASDAQ. The only reason this has a higher probability of working out rather than 50-50 is because last time we were here, the banks and institutions shorted it. There will still be players short at that point. They will add to it, and the entire world is watching this level, and they will all have the same idea, which makes it happen. Yeah. So you are basically taking a 50-50 shot with a probability of more than one participant doing the same thing at the same time, which will hopefully make it happen. But it's still 50-50. That's why it's so hard, because there is only one or two things that can happen. It will either go through that level or it won't. Don't try and overcomplicate it. When it comes down, it's going to come to here or here with a high probability. It might even get down to these areas at some point. But the only reason I know that is because that's all it ever does. Don't overcomplicate it. It's going to go there at some point. It will either go through that first or it won't. That I can't tell you. Don't lose your marbles. Long NASDAQ, stopped out Dow. Oh my God. Stopped out Dow, flipped short. I am now hedged. This is going to be one of those days. It's going to be one of those weeks. It's going to ruin my week, this is. These last 2 days are going to ruin my week. I had a lovely winning run going, look. These last 2 days, just... Afternoon, Virginia. How are we doing? Okay, so NASDAQ upside. We're looking high of Globex basically is 23,440 roughly area. So looking at heading back up into that range. You've got other areas of interest on the way today. So we've got this little low in Globex, which we bounced out of and then broke through, which is coming up. Other than that, no reason why we shouldn't really push up. So if we're going to continue this move higher from yesterday, which was, basically we didn't move anywhere yesterday, but we have gone higher today. So if we're going to continue this kind of bull move to the upside, this is potentially lower day today. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to test that higher day. I'm going to pull my profit target down. Dow, short again. Don't hold up much hope for that. it's very unlikely we're going to break short on the Dow and long on the Nasdaq. So I'd much rather think the Nas is probably going to go. S&P, no 3-bar trade. 676 is the range for the 15 minutes. 758 is 15% of ADR. So no trade there. Might get one on the 30-minute range if we break above that high. Just about. But upside on your S&P, pretty much the same. Globex highs, which is a break of yesterday's high. So upside target is there. Not moving very far, are we? Very fast at all. Euro pound is stalling out on the 4-hour. So some nice indecision this morning. Rejection up at those highs. Has got a little bit further to go, though, to hit that level. But could just go from there. Right. Over here. Okay, new highs on the Nas. S&P range is broken as well. Although it hasn't closed outside. Just thinking about it. Just looking at my spread on Darwinex on the S&P, it's absolutely huge, but it's actually quite big as well on Global Prime at the moment. Very big spread on the S&P for some reason today on both brokers. Don't know why. Okay, Nasdaq's off, but no real follow through on the S&P. Inside bar on the Dow. Very weak today, isn't it? Closing half. I don't like the rejection on the S&P. It's going to struggle. The Nasdaq's going to struggle to break out if the S&P doesn't go with it. We closed right the last 1 minute candle on the S&P 500 closed exactly at that high and then immediately rejected. So there's no follow through on the S&P. So that range now is going to form a 30-minute range. So that's 776. So there will be a 30-minute ORB when we get to 30 minutes. I'll be taking a break of that on the S&P. I think that's going to be two. No, that's fine. So there will also be a long break on the Dow on the 30 minutes as well. If I'm not stopped out of this, which I probably will be. Anybody got any FX pairs they want to look at today? I did cover quite a lot of them this morning. Lovely clean break on the Nas. Those are the only opportunities I could really look at this morning that look good. The ADRs this morning, we didn't really have any to look at. So that's pretty much it. We have got some monthlies. The main monthly is the Aussie New Zealand, which I'm already in. And that's obviously already come off those highs. So that's your monthly 175, I think we did. Yeah, 175 on the monthly. So nice reversal straight off of that. I'm in short on that, very close to break even as well. But this week has been terrible. It's just sideways this week. Literally sideways, not going anywhere. And we're contracting as well. So I'm hoping we're going to get that breakdown start next week. But it's almost like we're in summer trading at the moment. Very, very, very sideways markets. Bounced off that lower support of the US. Euro CAD stuck in long shorts. Hoping that we're going to get a bounce off of the weekly high and stay in this range. So if I can get another trade on here, that'll bring my average up inside the range and I'll be able to get out of a portion of this next week. Tempted to take that euro pound, but I'm going to leave that until next week. Pound US dollar, I'm in. Oil, still sideways. So this is this week's price action. Last week was a down week. Week before was an up week. Week before was an up week. Week before was obviously when the Iran conflict stopped. So I'm giving myself 5% drawdown on this, which is basically around about here. So I will get out if it drops, but it's just not going anywhere. I've been stuck in it now for 5 weeks. Sideways. Nice extension. Stalling out on the NASDAQ. S&P can't break, look. This is awful today. Again, very whippy. Just look at these wicks. Just huge wicks. Huge wicks everywhere. Market is just tiny little bodies on the S&P compared to the size of the wicks. There's just no momentum, no directional bias at all. Again. What do you think after that strong bullish H4 candle in the Swiss yen? For me, is it still in a range? Is it still in a range? And the closed H4 candle looks like an indecision candle. Yeah. I mean, you got that high there, obviously that high of the week. So, you know, this week, again, contracted. Same as last week, contracted. Yeah. So the rally's over. But that's an inside bar, obviously. So that's indecision. We have broken out of Wednesday's high. So, but it's rejected. So, you know, this is going to be the Wednesday's high rejection here. We're rejecting basically where we closed on last Friday. Yeah. But, you know, it's very slightly bullish at the moment, but we just had a weak day on the yen, that's all. So, nice reversal alert. And retest into propulsion. So watch this area here. If that breaks, we will probably flush down and come back down and retest the lows. If that breaks. This propulsion gap here. But market structure is bullish. So this is the area you need to break. If that breaks, kind of confirms that downward channel. We'll come down there somewhere. Probably. Hate being hedged. So short Dow long NAS. There's your 30-minute range in on the S&P. So this could go anywhere today. Pin bar forming on the pound US dollar might be a good spot for longs. I'm already in. I just got in. A nice hammer. So if we get a continuation bull candle, that's a 3-bar reversal. Pull, pause, push. Then off up into there or higher, basically. But yeah, nice long 4-hour RSI extension, hourly RSI extension, reversal alert on 15-minute, just about to trigger. You've had the reversal alert on the 5 and the retest. There's your W. So look for a 50% retracement on that leg. So this is either going to be a market structure continuation, in which case we're going to push out, make new highs, or it's a reversal, in which case we're going to come back and test those lows, but we'll be pulling back up into here somewhere. This propulsion gap here is where the last batch of buyers was. We broke through and retested that area. So this is where I would be watching, which is a 50% retracement. So target underneath that weekly high or low, whichever it is. It's 1 week high, last week's high. Oh yeah, look. So basically it's the higher last week where we opened. Pushed down, came back up on Friday. That for a continuation short. If we're bearish, who knows what's going on with the dollar at the minute? Taking the 5-minute market reversal alert on euro pound. Yeah. Dow Jones has fallen out of bed. I'm going to just put a stop, break even on the NASDAQ. I do not trust this NASDAQ. This is the Dow Jones is selling off super, super hard. The S&P is coming down. NASDAQ is rejecting these highs, not able to break through that propulsion. In fact, I'm going to close it. I'm just going to close the Dow, NASDAQ. That's not going higher. No way that's going to break up with the Dow Jones collapsing at that speed. So downside on the Dow. Where are we going? Right, well, that is your obvious support resistance, that's last week's high. So we've retested last week's high and we've just blown through last week's high. So we are either going to find support here and they're going to rebuy this level, or if we're not, it's difficult to tell where we're going to go. That's your low from Wednesday. I mean, obviously, you got double bottom week low. That's this week's low, basically. Difficult to call that. So this whole area here. So this was news that I can't remember what the news was, but we had this lovely, big, strong rally up. So there's literally, if we break this low, you've kind of got clean air. You've got a little bit of support resistance there, but it's pretty much clean air all the way back down into this area here, which is obviously you got Wednesday's low to worry about as well. So that makes an obvious target, Wednesday's low, for a partial close. Let's see if we can get down there. You watch this NASDAQ now. Absolutely fly. Now I'm out of it. Euro pound we're looking at, weren't we? 5-minute reverse alert on euro pound. Been accumulating for the last half an hour. All your head and shoulders traders are all getting excited. Break that. This propulsion. I still think this has got a little bit higher to go. It doesn't make sense not. Market does obviously reverse shy of support resistance. This is a zone. This isn't a line. So, yeah, it could well go from here. But it also makes sense to come and test this area to see if there is sellers in the area. Everybody's buying at the moment. There's a lot of business to be conducted at that price point. So makes sense to kind of just give it a little bit more of a push, but it might reverse from there. 15-minute reversal alert hasn't triggered. So if that Dow is going to break down, and the S&P is obviously trying as well to break down, that NASDAQ will just get dragged back inside the range. So I'm just getting ready to take a short on here. So just looking at that little low there for the last 15 minutes. So if that Dow continues to go and it drops, goes for target, S&P looks heavy at the moment. So we've got this big upside rejection, big rejection wick. We've got another rejection wick going in now. So, the buyers are really struggling to get long. However, we could just stay in rotation today, in which case then obviously you're just going to get chopped to death. So, but if that does drop, we'll probably pull back inside the range. Good propulsion rejection. Same with the S&P. That's the propulsion gap that broke that low. So that's where your sellers are. They added, re-adding. So buyers know they can't get through that area. So typically we'll come and test the lows and see if we can get through the lows. If we can get through the lows, then we'll come down, we'll test the most recent low, which is down here. We've got yesterday's low down there. Okay, so NASDAQ, lower low, lower high. So we're bearish, but we finished on a bull run. So could go either way. Brian, for some reason, got an error on the last message, but I mentioned of getting out of longs. I'll believe you. Could you imagine if you held that euro pound longs from the bottom? Yeah. Could you imagine it? Wouldn't that be lovely? I got out there. But you can see why I got out. Previous resistance. So yeah. But yeah, this is, if you're a trend trader, this is a trend trader's dream, catching a rounding bottom like this. There are so many times I get out of trades and it does this. There are so many times I get out of trades and it does this. It's going to do one of them. So, my job is to make money. It's not to be right and catch that run and post it all over Facebook and go how amazing I am. It's not the job, is it? The job is to make money, make money. That's for glory. I got in here again, look. Buys there. So I took a little bit more out of it there, but again, high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. I got out expecting lower low. We actually put in a range for the week, didn't we, really? But now it's off. But if I'd have known it was going to do that, obviously I wouldn't have got out. S&P's just broken the highs. What an absolute mess this is today. Nasdaq's new high. Just all over the place today. S&P, I'm long. Dow, in that case, going to stop out. It's just going to be a bloodbath today. This is just going to be a whipsaw. So I think I will give it a miss. I'm out of the Nas. I'm in long on the S&P, but I think I'm just going to cancel off the other orders because I don't want to get whipsawed today. There's a good chance we're going to do a rotation today. It is Friday. So if the market's just going to stay in rotation all day, you are literally just going to hemorrhage cash. So it's just pointless. Wait for the breaks. 2 losing days on the trot. Not much fun, is it? Good shout on GU. Afternoon elevated. How we doing? Hasn't broken yet. But we will see. We get a 3-bar reversal here. It's a strong area. So this is a 71 retracement. It's almost, on the whole leg, it's kind of a very nice retracement area for buying. But equally, we've been coming down for weeks. This is potentially just a pullback short. So this low here is second entry. And if it's done that entire move, we're going to be down here. You do not get down into this area very often. Very, very, very rare. You just don't. There you go. There's one example of when we've breached the 90 area. Oh, we didn't even breach it. It's 88. So that's 88. That's the highest RSI reading we've had. Just got below the 80 there. Just got below the 80 there. You can't see it's behind my head, but we had that. One there. Very, very strong. That was an interest rate change, I think, October. So obviously that was a change in direction, caused that. But there's no reason for this. There's no. Yes, we got trade deals going in, but there's no fundamental reason for it to drop that fast, that hard. So that will bounce. If it doesn't bounce there, where we are, it will bounce here, because if it gets all the way down to here without pulling back and profit taking, they will have so much money on the table they will need to take profit on it. So we'll get a pullback of some perspective on that. So that's the whole idea of position trading. Is we get in. If we're wrong, we get in again. We average into that price, and then all we need is a flag break for an exit, because our price will be down here. So we enter here. That's our price. Look for a pullback. If it doesn't happen, we'll get in here, move our price to there, and we'll get out on the next pullback. Whippy, whippy, whippy. So if we are going to whipsaw today, I would expect Globex highs to get rejected. Gold has just collapsed. Huge move down on gold suddenly. Oh, Trump's still talking. Okay. That's good. Oil production set to drop in Russia. That's good. So that'll send the price of oil up. So that is the end of Trump. Literally, he's finished. I don't know why gold's just dropped, but gold just dropped. I haven't had a lot of luck with Canada. I may impose a unilateral tariff rate on Canada. Not a lot of negotiating. Focus on a deal. I'm not focused on a deal with Canada. Most of the deals are letters instructing tariff rates. Some letters will say 10%, some will say 15%. Most of the deals are finished right now. Yeah, I love that. Look, most of the deals are letters instructing tariff rates. That's not a deal. That's an order. Yeah, I'm sending you a letter telling you your prices are going up. That's not a deal, is it? That's you just telling us the prices are going up. Not the most amazing linguist, is he? Fear and greed up into extreme, so we should be breaking long today. This is all over the shop. This Dow, it looks like it's going to stop out, so time to stop. Nice break on gold to the downside. Quite sure what caused that, but very big move on the 1 minute chart. Just suddenly saw it out the corner of my eye. Not like to do that today. This euro pound. What's going on with the euro pound? Oh yeah, we've looked at that already, haven't we? It's just not stopping. But you know, you are at a very, very good. So if you're in short on this, if you've got a position on this that you haven't got out of for some reason, I mean, there's absolutely no reason. I mean, you should have been out of the trade here. This is a great example of why I get out where I get out. Yeah, I take money. If you got in short here or here, so if you shorted there, you shorted there, you shorted there, you shorted there, that is an exit. If you didn't take it, that's the next leg. Always think worst case scenario. This is why I never hold these. This is why I never catch these, because I'm always thinking worst case scenario. Because if you think worst case scenario, you'll protect your capital. If you think best case scenario, you will hope that something happens, which has got a 50-50 outcome. Might happen, but if you get out when you've got profit, you will get out with profit. So if you're in this from here and you're still in it and your average is somewhere around here, 175 to 225 mark. So if you're in there, I would imagine you're probably averaging a good 150 ADR away from price. This is where you scale in with aggressive drawdown control. If we can get to 125 ADR today, we'll be extended on the RSI for the third time in a day, or in 48 hours, basically, with divergence at an area of resistance, which is the highest point of the year. There's going to be something happening here. So this is where you do aggressive drawdown control. Get in with some big size. If your average is down here somewhere or down here, get in with some big size here. Whatever lots you've got on, take 50% of those lots and stick them on up here when we get a sign short. Maybe 75% of the lots. Give yourself half an ADR, 3/4 of an ADR breathing room on the trade. It's going to cost you if it goes wrong. That's what an aggressive drawdown control trade is. It's high risk, but it will bring your average screaming up into here, and you'll be able to get out if we just come and test that propulsion gap on a new leg to the upside. Yeah, look at my Swiss yen. Admittedly, this one was executed very ugly with lots of trade button presses because it wasn't the EA doing it. But yeah, I got out on that. Yeah, in case it did that. Yeah, because this is what it's been doing. Yeah, the market will always take the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance for this is that. Yeah, so my average was down here somewhere. These aggressive drawdown control positions brought my average up to here. So I got out. But this is an anomaly because there was no high. This is an all-time high. So this is, but with the euro pound, you have got an all-time high coming up. Well, not an all-time high, a yearly high. So you got all this here that the banks and institutions are in. Look at what they've done. They've moved the market up. They've flagged. No profit take. They've moved the market up. They've flagged. No profit take. They've moved the market up. There was a profit take on that leg, and then they've pushed up again. Yeah. So this whole section here, they're long with no profit take. Yeah. They are going to take profit on this at some point. It's what they do. It's what they always do. Every single time. Yeah. They're going to take profit. Whichever way you look at it, it's going to pull back between a third to a half of that move, at least if it doesn't come down here. We just need some decent news, basically. This is what we're lacking at the moment, news. We're just not getting it because it's all about tariffs. And as soon as these tariffs are all over and everything's calmed down and everybody knows where they are, it's going to start to get a little bit more normal. But at the moment, we're just waiting for news catalysts to drive the market. And, look at this week's news. It was all forecast, yeah. All your Eurozone forecast, yeah. Your pound forecast with a slight downtick, euro pound up, yeah. Even your US dollar, one bull, one bear, neutral. Yeah, there's just nothing hitting the market at the moment that is driving it, apart from Trump. God, I should have got out of that. Do with it really today. So Dow got a low high going in. This is either pullback long or a pullback short. So I might Nasdaq's rejecting now, so I might have a chance of making a profit on the Dow. That's going to stop out. If the Dow drops, that's going to stop out. So and then that will flip short. That will be my only hope today. The market. I want the market to collapse today, basically. It's the only way I'm going to get this back to break even today. It's a mess. Can we check out your exposure with the FX pairs? Aussie short, CAD long, Swiss long, Euro short, Pound short, New Zealand long, US short. Hmm. Toying the idea of taking some of that off, or taking that off completely, but it's not really worth banking, is it? Just can't get any traction. This literally, this P&L has been sitting somewhere between 5 to 10% for what seems like weeks. I just can't get anything moving. Nothing is getting anywhere. This Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. Look at it on the 4-hour chart. Got into it, but this week we're just literally sitting around again, going nowhere, looking for that. But equally, just nothing's moving, is it? It's just awful. Just pick a direction already. Would you risk entering an aggressive drawdown on Euro Pound, even if it's Friday afternoon, evening, with the weekend coming? I probably wouldn't if it was me. The trouble with an aggressive over the weekend is on Sunday night, you're going to get a massive spread. So if I've done this before and it's risky, but if you enter an aggressive drawdown control today and we end up sitting here somewhere, end of day, I would remove the stop loss just so that you don't get stopped out on spreads over the weekend. It's unlikely to gap up massively. I mean, you just don't get gaps in forex anymore. It's very rare. We get weekend gaps. It's got to be something pretty substantial to cause a gap. So I would, and I have done, got into aggressive drawdown control positions. If we're sitting around the aggressive entry, remove the stop loss, but make sure you put it back on Monday morning. And obviously be prepared to take some spread and drawdown in your account. Yeah, so make sure you don't get margin called or anything stupid. But yeah, what you don't want to do is miss it. So if you go, I'm not going to take it because it's Friday afternoon, yeah, and then we get a massive bear move for 4 hours as the market sells off ahead of the weekend, you've missed your opportunity to take it. You've just missed it. And then you'll be like, oh, I'll wait for it to come back up again. And then what it will do is that for the next 3 weeks. Yeah. And that would have got you out, and now you can't. So it's a tricky one. But yeah, removing the stop loss will stop you getting spread out. But obviously there is the temptation then to just leave it, which is not a good idea. I have done it before, and it is seat of your pants time, basically. Not advisable. We're breaking along on the S&P and the NAS, but not convincingly. POS EA is doing great this month, 12% so far, scalping 0.1 ADR targets. Nice. That's really tight scalping, isn't it? S&P is not breaking the highs. It can't get out. It's stuck. That gold move down has stopped as well. Market's just gone. It's just stopped. So S&P is rejecting the highs. We're inside bar. Can't really do anything with this today. It's just a mess. Brokers would feast on weekend stop loss. Yeah. It'll be having any, weekend holds. Just if you're using any type of stop loss strategy, if your stop loss is anywhere within an ADR, it's fair game. You've signed a contract with your broker and you've asked them to fill your order at the best possible price. It's in your contract. Read it. No one ever reads contracts. Read your one with your broker. You'll crap yourself. You don't realize what control you've given them over your money. But one of the lines in your contract will say that your broker will execute your orders if they are placed in the market at the best available price. So what they will do is they will spread the market by 1 ADR, and if your order is within that range, they will fill it at the best possible price. At the time they spread the market, the best possible price was the one that they achieved for you. Unfortunately, it was a 100 pip range. So you get stopped out. Price never gets there. I got a great example on this pound US dollar. Look. No, on the euro pound. No. Pound Swiss. Yes. How? How did they fill my order there? Yeah. That's the high. That's my fill. That's the best possible price they could get. How did they get that price? They spread the market. Look, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. This is the overnight spread. Yeah. That is the candle high. That is the candle low. That is my order execution. That is 52 pips. ADR is 60. Yeah. So they spread the market an entire ADR and they said, there you go. We'll fill you there. Thank you very much for that lovely break even you've given me on my short. In. Yeah. That's where they gave me my execution. So this is what's happening. So if you are going to use stop losses and you are holding them overnight, they have to be at least 1 ADR away from wherever price is at end of day. If it's anywhere within an ADR, you're asking for it. Why we don't use stop losses, because you are just giving your money to your broker, basically. That's what stop losses do. It's in your contract. Go read it. And then you'll never trade again. Totally stuck. Yeah, the best available price for them. Yeah. Yeah, basically it's, ooh, big spike, stopped out the Dow. A big spike up on the S&P. All markets spiked up then. DAX has just gone nuts. So's the FTSE. Something big's just come in. Trump, Australia to take US beef for the first time. A very big market. Seriously, you're selling US beef to Australia. That's all they do. Cattle. The whole of the outback is full of cows. Doesn't make sense, does it? Starmer will not meet Trump until Monday, contrary to remarks, blah, blah, blah. I'm just waiting for some news to come in. We've just had something's just hit the market. And just waiting to see what that is. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's not a news event. Certainly a large order just hit, though. I have a low risk crack at longs on that. Is this all-time highs on the S&P? Okay, so that was a push out into all-time highs on the S&P today for Globex. So if we're going to break long, the chances are we're going to run that high and we're going to go. So the NASDAQ will likely do the same. So my partial up there is probably 50 points. So I'm not going to be that eager with it. So we'll see if we can break. Immediate rejection on the NASDAQ. So all-time highs on the NASDAQ as well today. So this propulsion gap on the NAS from the Globex session this morning is kind of holding. We are trying to get through it, but I think if we get through that propulsion gap, we're definitely going to run highs. So I think there's more chances of longs than shorts, but it's really, really struggling today. We need them all to go. They need to all break, but that was certainly a big order that just hit the market there. No reason. Oh, there you go. So EU officials and diplomats, European framework trade deal with the US could happen this weekend. Right. So talking about stop losses on the euro pound. Yeah. And I say the market very rarely gaps. If that news for that trade deal hits this weekend and the market decides it's bullish for the euro, we don't know whether it's going to be good or bad for the euro, do we? So if it's good for the euro, there is a chance of a gap up. So just bear that in mind. That might put a bit of a slight stance on should we maybe not go aggressive today. If you've just got to bear in mind, I mean, if you look at gaps in FX daily, I'm just trying to find a decent gap. So there's one there. So we got a gap there and there's a gap there daily. You got a gap there. You got a gap there. Tiny little one there. That's a fairly big gap. Look. But I mean, typically gaps get filled. So if you do weekend gaps, it tends to fill them straight away. So, look at the sizes of the gaps you get. You're probably looking at, I mean, that there is 22. So that's half an ADR. That gap there is roughly half an ADR. So if you look at where we are with this euro pound, market seems to be reacting positively to that news on the euro. So a little bit of strength coming into the euro off the back of that. Not massively on euro US. But yeah, so if you measure roughly half an ADR from wherever we close out today, so if we close out at the highs, all-time highs here, you're looking at, that's half an ADR. So you could potentially be gapping up to there. So just work out what it would cost you in drawdown. Work out what that would be. And it's very easy to do. If you put a short order in here, I'll do a quick short order. I don't really want to sell this because it's going up. But I'll put a sell stop in. So if you put your order in, basically, let's say that's your order, drag your stop up half an ADR. Yeah, and just look at what it would cost you. Hover over it. It's going to cost me $62, that. But, you will probably want to put it an ADR away, don't you? 1.25 ADR if it's a stop. But imagine what half an ADR would be in a gap. That's what it's going to cost you. So you can figure it out, basically. Deader than a dodo. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. So I'm going to leave it there because it's just rubbish. So I am long S&P. It's probably not going to go enough to get me back to break even today. That's going to make me 1,600. So if we get to my partial, I'm going to pull back 2/3 of the loss today, basically, which is fine. I'm going to take that sell stop off on the S&P, so I'm not going to break short. And that's it. I'm going to leave that NASDAQ running. and see if I can get a break to the upside on the NAS. That's pretty much it. There's nothing much else we can do today. That's my last trade. So we're not going to take any more. It'll either work or it won't. It's going up or it's not. Right, so I'm back on Monday. We'll have a look at how everything's going next week. We'll have a look at what's happened with the Euro deal, if that comes in over the weekend. Next week, we've got the Canadian rates forecast to stay the same. It's FOMC next Wednesday, so obviously Fed fund rate. We've got the Japanese rates coming in. They're expected to stay the same as well. So all these rates should stay the same. There's absolutely no reason why we should be changing these. There is forecast for another 0.25% on the Bank of Japan rate, but not yet. And it's non-farm payroll week, obviously, as well. So it's a big week next week. We've got lots of movement. So we've got US GDP as well. We've got the CPI for the Australian dollar. So there's a lot of big market moving news next week. But we are in summer trading now. So it's that period of year where things start to slow down, if they could slow down any more than they are at the moment, that is. But yeah, so it's a busy week next week. So we should hopefully get some decent movement and obviously some explosive moves, hopefully on the indices. So yeah, watch this one. Just interested to see what that pound US dollar. So dollar reacting a little bit strongly towards that news as well. So there is potential for that dollar to come in strong as well now. Another trade deal should be good for the dollar, which should be bad for indices. But hey, if Powell doesn't fall on Trump's possessions, pressure. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he will. This is why Trump and Powell don't get on. Yeah, because Trump wants to just drastically reduce rates to help the economy grow faster. Powell wants to see the long-term effect of the dollar being strong, yeah, which is exactly what he should be doing. So Powell's doing the right thing. Trump is pressuring him. You know, it's a difficult situation. They both disagree with each other. But as Trump said this morning, he's a nice man now. So I think there's been some talk. So yeah, if that drops to 4.25, kiss the dollar goodbye. We will get a big drop on the dollar because the market is not forecasting it. It hasn't priced it in. And if it drops by 0.25%, they'll have to pull some dollar out. So there'll be a big drop if that was to happen. I don't think it will. But listen for Trump on Tuesday and Monday. If he says anything about there being a high chance of an interest rate drop, because he does this, he knows what's coming, listen to him. You want to be selling the dollar if he does talk it down. So we'll see. But yeah, it's Trump. Anything can happen. We are going along on the S&P now. Right. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Discord or Telegram. Other than that, I will see you on Monday. Have a good weekend.